Evil must be punished. Otherwise, I will assume you pose a threat to my ally, Israel. And this goes for any ally of America. Japan, Great Britain, Taiwan. Yes, Taiwan. Now, you say, well, Taiwan is an internal affair. See, this is where I separate from Ron Paul, because Ron Paul would say that Taiwan is an internal affair. Well, now, I don't know if y'all have looked at a map, but Taiwan is an island, okay? It is a separate entity. Yes, it's close to China. It's right off of China's coastline. But it's still a separate entity. And therefore, in my personal opinion, deserves autonomy. Therefore, if I would think that Taiwan would be attacked, then I would feel responsible to, at the very least, give them aid of some type. And I know China would get pissed off at that. But tough. I mean, I made an agreement to be their ally, didn't I? You know, whether I would intervene directly or not, I don't know, but I might give them aid. But it would not be another Vietnam. It would not be another Iraq. You know, and it would have to be a legitimate bona fide attack. Now, you know, and I know China is already trying to take steps to incorporate Taiwan. Well, if that's done peacefully and with compliance of the government of Taiwan, then I see no problem with it. But, no, I don't like the shady backdoor deal crap. I don't go for that. Let's see. Let's go on here. Try to find another one. How do you stand on separation of church and state? There is no such animal. The only thing the Founding Fathers were interested in is making sure that America never declared a particular religious entity unto itself. Well, I have no intentions of doing that. So you're safe. America will not be a theocracy. Okay? The only way America can be a theocracy is if the President of the United States gets up and declares this a Christian nation. Well, I'm not going to declare it a Christian nation, but by the same token, I'm not going to run around screaming separation of church and state and squelching religious freedom in this country. That's bullshit, and that stops immediately. The ACLU would be immediately disbanded since they are counterproductive to the Constitution of the United States. Well, can you do that? Yeah, like I said, they're counterproductive to the Constitution of the United States, so I can disband them immediately. If they don't like it, tough shit. You know, if you're counterproductive to the Constitution, then you're basically sedition, you know, in one respect at least. So, no, the ACLU would go bye-bye. Sorry, you lose your trump card, atheist. I know that breaks your heart, but you'll just have to grin and bear it. Of course, you know, there is always Cuba. I would give you a free airfare to Cuba if you like. Let's see, Prohibition didn't work, so why would a war on drugs work? Because I would bomb the fuck out of them, that's why. Does that help you? Let's see, what else here? And let's see here. Conservative Voice USA says the libs will hate you. Tough. I'm to represent the American people, not what the libs in Washington, D.C. like or dislike about me. And yes, that includes the libs on the street. I have a clear line of demarcation between the average lib on the street and the libs in Washington, D.C. The libs in Washington, D.C. are corrupt to the core. The lib on the street is just like, hey man, can we get some benefits for the elderly and the poor and stuff like that? Hey, I'm willing to listen to that shit. But I'm not going to listen to the libs on Capitol Hill who say we must basically turn the country into a communist nation or a socialist nation in order to get those things done. I don't think that's necessary. And it doesn't fly with the libs of years past anyway. So, no. Kev President says, I volunteer my services as head of the military at the border. Done and done, dude. Shit, shower, and shave and be ready to rock and roll as soon as I get sworn in. Okay, that's pretty much it, dudes. If you have any other questions about my presidency, my candidacy, if you want to flip me the bird, whatever, I don't care. But, oh, before I go, provided this video isn't overtime, Vice President, if you want to be Vice President, my requirements are you must be a conservative, you must have some kind of a faith, you'd be a Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, pagan, Jewish, I don't give a shit. I would point out, however, Jews in America that you are breaking the law of Moses. Law of Moses stipulates that if a nation of Israel is established, you are to return to Israel. So I would insist that Jews here in America return to Israel and obey the law of Moses. I think that was right. Or you could publicly denounce any and all allegiance, reference, assembly to Judaism, any and all. That includes biological. If you did that, you could stay. Otherwise, I would insist all Jews return to Israel. That is the good thing to do. That's the moral thing to do. That's the right thing to do. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to let the cat out. Alright. Lastly, Islam. Islam would be reduced to a cult status, just as we do Satanism. Anything that poses a harm to the people is reduced to a cult status. You say, well, what harm? Well, first of all, harm to themselves, because Islam is quite clear. Anybody that leaves Islam is to be put to death. Well, sorry, that's not a justifiable reason to put someone to death. Therefore, Islam would be reduced to a cult. Adherents of Islam would cease and desist any and all activity. If you don't like that, then I guess you'll have to leave the United States of America, because I have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to violent cults that pose a threat to life and limb to the people. If you're a Luciferian Satanist, for example, and you like chopping up little babies into pieces, you're out of here, dude. Okay, I have zero tolerance policy for cults like that, cults that actually pose death and dismemberment to its people. I don't go for that. Sorry, you're out of here. And that's pretty much it, guys.